would you do it then outside making worldwide use of that NTSC crap? That's why the black areas at the left and the right stay the same, but not at the top and bottom. That's right, there absolutely should be black areas all around the image. There has it all over the image, while NTSC has the left and the right portions of it, and sometimes all around the image, or so it seems. Technically, you'll get to that. The overscan of your TV just hides those and gives the illusion that it's filling the screen. It's pretty much. LCDs don't have overscan or at the very least that much, but some still do that for some odd reason I can't understand, as they do not need to do that. That's why with LCDs you can see the border that has always been around the image a bit more. And it absolutely should be seen that way. I've always said that sharp emulators just don't replace the real thing. You can tell a reason why that is, as this is no such thing. I might be trying to say, Mr. PSX, you're wrong. But let me ask you, when actually was the last time you used these things with real hardware and a CRT? And are you doing that now? Exactly. You may be remembering wrong, since newer things blend in with old things. You're smarter than me. I don't know how that works. I like to remember things as they are. For example, not remembering PS1 games being like PS4 games. They never looked like those to me back in the early 2000s. I am in fact using a CRT and real hardware still. You could be too, and verifying all seen in this video as true as well, but I'm sure you don't, as you have some excuse to not do so, yet get all the new stuff instead. You might also like to call me an elitist. Do that as much as you like. I'm going to take that as a compliment. Plus, it's not like you're one of those with some other subject now, are you? Thought so. If not, then I don't know what to say. I also say simulation for a reason. Let me show you a clip.
So what is the greatness of emulation again? For the longest time I thought that this would not work because of shitty emulation. It patches fine, but it literally does not update unless I switch a video mode, and even then it's for that whatever frame it happens to be that it updates, and I have to tick buttons constantly. It worked after all. And because of shitty emulation I thought that it would not work, that patch, but it does.
So you see the game image, but am happy with that. It should be like that. Also note that I said before what absolutely can't happen and then show exactly what's happening. That has always been the power of paint shopping. Yes, I've done some edits and always in paint. Now I'm going to have a game that works a bit differently later on, and those who know the deal already knows the gist, but the end result. But first, even as this guy is unedited captures from real PS1 with PAL and NTSC show the same phenomena. Real being PAL and NTSC being full, but with black box baked in-game it feels around the same with the game image itself. Moving on. Crash Bandicoot 2. Same deal. Here's the PAL game running on a legit hardware seen through a CRT. Note the slight border all around the image. This is after centering it in-game. Here's the same game from a more modern television. Have the image centering in-game the same way it would be centered. Note how there's slightly more blackness seen, and no white for some reason. And here's the simulator output. Full screen. I'm again using the Japanese NTSC version here to show you that I really used a different version. Here's how it looks through a CRT. Note the slight border again all around the image. This is again after centering it in-game. Again, it fills the screen slightly more than the PAL version. Here's the same game through a more modern television. Again, you see more than clear anyway if it happens. But yes, if you play these games with a modern display and you find that the image doesn't feel the screen, that's the way it absolutely should be. That's the way it absolutely should be looking and was intended. What you see with modern displays is just partly due to overscan being at least partially eliminated, if not completely eliminated. Just set it to the aspect of 4:3, or if the in-game option is set to 16 to 9, then switch your TV to that as well. Would you believe this is another concept some people struggle with, that aspect
to their home to watch a program when it's on. It's you're driving your car around like mad around the town without a growl. And everyone has a dream. It must be just the way you are. Here comes the train now, watching the same now. I know that you're late. All that goes down, yeah.
Face to face with someone just like you, it's double trouble.